Okay, this deserves a little special mention here for oil pan bolts. They're 10 millimeter to begin with. Now, the two or three that are over towards the transmission side are recessed and they're off angle. So you're going to need a 10 millimeter with a universal. This is a thin-walled 6.10 millimeter because you'll probably want to get the 10 foot-pounds on there. You don't want to go too much more than that for sure. 10 or 12 at the most. Now a rare earth magnet, because you're almost certain to drop those three oil pan bolts down into the bottom of the bell housing, so that's no fun. And so what you got to do in order to retrieve them is you go like that, and you get your rare earth magnet onto your socket tip, and you get your socket tip up in there, probably without the universal. So you would, however you want to do it, you get your rare earth magnet in there, get it up into the hole where the oil pan bolts are, and you might actually need it on the universal so that you can get it over to the side. That might be a better bet. So anyhow, that magnet will grab it and pull it out of there, because you're almost certain to drop it a few times, either taking it out or putting it in. So this is the third or fourth time I've cleaned this in the past couple of years. Of course, you want to pull the oil pickup tube and clean the mesh as well. I didn't find too much as far as debris goes, except for the shear pin. The actual flange is still in the engine block, along with who knows how much other parts and pieces from the last time it broke down, and however many times it broke down before then. So these things are fluttering about in there. It doesn't inspire confidence. That's pretty much it for this repair, and I just gotta hope for the best, I guess. When I got the car, it was in pretty bad shape, so there's a lot of metal in the oil. I had to buy a new oil filter canister because the center spindle was gone. The filter was free floating in there because there was no bottom mount. So the oil filter wrench is a bit overdone. It's a plastic canister, and the only thing I could come up with was a fairly expensive impact grade 36 millimeter, and that's what it takes, is a 36 millimeter. Furthermore, the canister, I preload the canister with oil before I install it, so that there's that much less to fill, so you don't have to refill as much after doing an oil change. There's usually a little bit left where you have to fill it up the rest of the way after driving it. So if you preload it, you'll have a little bit more oil than otherwise. Alright, so I'm prepping to do an oil change on this because the camshaft adjuster reservoir takes a while for the oil to replenish in that, so I want to get fresh oil into that right off the bat. It's nearly due anyhow, so my arrangement for trying to salvage the oil filter situation was to replace the previous oil filter mounting tube with a homemade metal tube that's perforated, and so I've done that. And you see it fits snugly on the inset. When you drop it in, however, there's some play. You can hear it rattling around in there. Now, the previous filter, having had that amount of play, has actually started to pull through. It's not too much damage, but you might be able to see it. The lighting being what it is. Okay, so the place where the paper is glued to the plastic cap, you can see has separated somewhat, and there's a little bit of space there. So a little bit of oil was getting by right at the very top, but the whole metal seam stayed intact. So at least there's that, so it is a metal line filter. This is the made in the USA filter, which is the best one for this application. Still not 100%, but a whole lot better than what the other filters were, the other arrangement.